He doesn't need any introduction. He's part of music. Today's episode is titled as Globalization of Carnatic Music.
My father, Chitravina Narasimhan sir, himself is a disciple of my grandfather, Gotodim Narayanam, who was a legend in this instrument. So my mother has written articles where she said that she was almost doing a kind of a tapas.
And sir, we heard you did a 4-minute concert at Chennai Fine Arts Festival.
Compositions or the Dasavatara compositions or the Jyotirlingam, all this they just happened. Those are also been performed by great dancers, right from Pandit Birju Maharaj ji, C.V. Chandrasekharan sir, Guru Radha, Padma Subramaniam ji. See, there are two approaches to music in the world. Predominantly, one is the melodic approach. That means you hear one note after the other. That means successive notes. Sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. These are all successively done. And then there is the other approach which is called the harmonic approach. The first ever Mel Harmony concert in that festival, this was actually the UK Millennium Festival.
Namaskaram. Welcome to Anaganaga. Today I am going to talk a great personality. He doesn't need any introduction. He's part of music and he has a great vision called Globalization of Music. You know what? Today's episode is titled as Globalization of Carnatic Music. Without further delay, I would like to introduce our special guest today. He is none other than Chitravina Narasimhan Ravikiran garu. Namaskaram Ravikiran ji.
Namaste ji.
Thank you so much. He's so busy. I know you are here in Seattle for Mel Harmony Festival 2025. And in this busy schedule, you take time and sitting with us in our studio today. I'm really honored and privileged to talk to you, sir.
Absolutely my pleasure, and a big namaskarams and greetings to all your viewers as well.
Thank you, sir. Before we go into more details, I wanted to read a short description about you. So, who knows Ravikiran ji? They know about him. He's have multiple websites and he's especially have a great biography. But people like me, the other side of audience doesn't know much about. And this is the occasion and this is the opportunity. I take it today. With a short description, I wanted to read about few of his great achievements. He's have multiple innovations and multiple contributions and multiple compositions. We talk slowly, but let's start with a small key highlights. Here are few key highlights as an introduction. As a prodigious 2-year-old, he captivated the world by identifying and demonstrating 325 Indian classical ragas and 175 talas at the age of 2. Between the age of 5 and 10, he performed vocal concerts across India with renowned artists in prestigious venues. From age 12, he has enthralled audiences worldwide with his 21-stringed Chitraveena, being recognized as one of the greatest Indian musicians. He is a prolific composer, creating over 1400 plus compositions in music, dance, and Western orchestral styles. The inventor of the Mel Harmony concept we are going to talk about today. He also introduced over 100 Indian ragas to Western orchestras. Ravikiran ji received a fellowship in 1969 at the age of 2. He has received numerous awards and titles nationally, internationally, including the President of India's Senior Sangeet Natak Academy Award at the age of 39. He attributes all his success to the revolutionary guru, his father, Chitravina Narasimhan garu, and the iconic vocalist Tanjavur Brinda garu, and the legends who have inspired him. He raised substantial funds for educational, health, and social initiatives like musicians, COVID relief fund, pioneer rural empowerment through music and art education, and initiated climate literacy and action drives to prevent an environmental meltdown in the planet. So without further delay, we were really very curious, Kiranji, to know more about your compositions and your contributions in the world platform. So once again, welcome to Anaganaga ji.
Thank you.
So I want to start with your. This is a common question everybody asks, but we are also curious to know. Your father played a key role in igniting your love for music at age 2, and now it's your passion and life. Could you please share that story with us?
See, my father Chitravina Narasimhan sir himself is a disciple of my grandfather Gotvadim Narayanam, who was a legend in this instrument. Chitravina is the traditional name of this instrument, but Gotvadim was a more recent name introduced by my grandfather's guru Sri Sakharam Rao. So my grandfather was known as Gotvadim Narayanaga. He took the instrument forward. In fact, he took it to almost every part of India as well as some outside countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Burma and all that. And my father continued on that footsteps, and he is the one who has been responsible for sharing my grandfather's innovations on this instrument to a lot of other artists. Today, if you look at all the Chitravina players, most of them follow my grandfather's string arrangement, internal design of the instrument, and the kind of tonality that this instrument is supposed to have. And apart from this, my father, fantastic performer himself, who has won accolades from all the legends of his times and his seniors, including the guru of Pandit Ravi Shankar, Sri Alauddin Khan, and so many other great artists, right from Samudi Srinivasaya or Pandit Ravi Shankar, and so many other people. So once I was born, my father and mother, both, her name is Chudamani Narasimhan, and they both actually were very keen that this child should be a musical one. So my mother has written articles where she said that she was almost doing a kind of a tapas
Oh.
when she was pregnant and all that. So God's grace, when I showed some signs of interest, my father started focusing all the energy on making me into a very solid prodigy, not just some kid who can identify some 10 ragas and all this. In fact, nobody was experimenting with children, infant
Yeah.
years, like when the child is just born and all this.
Yeah.
So my father showed the world. In fact, what he did in 1969 when he first presented me was a revolution. And then literally thousands and thousands of parents have since got inspired by what my father showed. And they have then started training their children, exposing them to music and even factual knowledge at that age. So both my, father and mother and my extended family, my grandmothers and my aunt, they were all also big scholars and deep into spiritual values, philosophical values, languages. So I was taught a lot of languages also from a very early age, Tamil, Kannada. Because of Kannada, Telugu also I can
Yeah.
read and write and all that. I could read and write all these languages.
Oh.
Then Hindi, Sanskrit, and of course English also. So all this parallelly, lot of things were happening, and my entire family was involved in the process of my evolution. And so the way my father would teach, see, you cannot imagine teaching a child to identify some 300 odd ragas in that age, and not in some particular manner, but identify no matter who sang those ragas, because each artist may sing it in a different style. So to give that jnana to the child, which is infant, is absolutely some mind-boggling achievement. And to imagine that my father did it when he was in his 20s. He was still in his 20s when I was born. So everything he accomplished and showed at that age to the world. And that's why he's a Margadarshi, where, teaching, especially infant education, infant psychology, so many different areas, interdisciplinary areas he straddled. And he actually was one of the first people who said to the world that music is like a language. Any child can pick up music like picking up a language.
Yeah.
And so, any normal child, he actually promised that he could transform the child into a very prodigious talent. And when I was born, I was the first in the family,
True.
and then my siblings, Shashi Kiran and Kiranavali, also my father presented them when they were like 2 years old, 3 years old. And then his sister's son, Chitravina Ganesh. All of them my father presented, showing that mine was not some freak kind of a thing, but it was systematic. Nature plus nurture.
Yeah.
These are the keywords that he would always use. And so, visionary guru and great performer.
Yeah.
Even today, when I talk to him, he always teaches me something new or the other.
Oh, okay. Usually at that age, parents are excited if kids talk. But I say both of you blessed. He's blessed to have a child like you, and you are blessed to have a guru come father like him.
Yes. See, in that context, I was very lucky. Not only when I was 2 years old, of course, when I was two, I don't remember many of the things. But the way he taught my brother and sister, I used to observe closely. So the way his singing itself will be so attractive. So even if a child is sitting and playing some game, if he sang, the child will immediately look up towards him.
Yeah.
So then he will say, Atana.
Oh.
Sahana. Like this, his magnetic singing will attract the child, and then if he gives the name of the raga, that means you are actually teaching the child not simply some different tunes.
Yeah.
You are giving data points to the
Right.
child. See, 325 different names, 175 different tala names. All these you are giving, that's all hardcore data. Names of composers, identifying composers by signatures. Names of all the gamakas, Arohanam, Avarohanam, Nalus, Puridam, Kampitam, Ahritam, like this, so many different gamakas. And then you are talking about Shadyatis, like Srotavaham, Gopucham, Pridangayati, Vedamati, all these kind of different yatis. Then Shat columns, Atichitram, Ardhachitram, all these kind of different names of columns. So much of data he gave, but key point is without frying the brains of the child.
Absolutely.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
So today, so many parents are trying to emulate my father's methods, and some of them have succeeded to varying degrees.
Yeah.
But what he did was literally, I mean, it has not been replicated, I would say, even 10% or something, because it's a very difficult thing to replicate.
I actually read one statement J. Pandit Ravi Shankar said about you. If you don't believe in God, look at Ravi Kiran. That's really very impactful statement. And in your interaction with him and in what context he just said that, look at Ravi Kiran if you don't believe in God.
See, that is his generosity and it's a blessing only because, see, when I was 2 years old, all these people tested me. There were public shows in Music Academy, Krishna Gana Sabha, Shanmugananda in Bombay, Bangalore, Malleshwaram, Sangeet Sabha. So many places people would have public events of this demonstration by me. So Pandit Ravi Shankar ji was one of those people who tested me. So different great legends among Vishnavasari, M.S. Subbulakshmi. In fact, M.S.M. also, she hosted a reception for me when I was 2 years old.
Oh.
Yes. And so also, the TVS group and the Hindu group, all of them really supported and encouraged me, projected my talent to the entire world, Music Academy, all these people. So, when Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, he attended that 1969 music conference in Madras when I was just emerging as this infant musician. So at that time, he was also one of those people who saw my this thing. Directly he saw, and then it's just a blessing for me. I don't really have any words to express my admiration for him. He is such a legend, and he has been one of my idols from childhood. So
Yeah, I read somewhere you the globalization concept, the globalization of Carnatic music also you took from Swami Vivekananda, who is actually globalizing the spiritual thoughts, and Pandit Ravi Shankar ji, globalization of Hindustani. So that's how I think your vision may be picked up, learning them, listening to them, and you meeting them all maybe those vibes. You already have so much in you and your father, and this helped little more.
Yes, Ravi Shankar ji, I met Vivekananda.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I did
yeah,
not, but I have been deeply inspired by him. The important thing is India has some of the best gifts to offer to the world. But unless we reach out and offer it to the people, we'll be confining it to ourselves. Now, for example, even when Pandit Ravi Shankar ji actually in 1960s and all that, he
yeah,
was performing, Indian music was not that well known outside of India. I mean, it was known somewhat, like in a
yeah,
very vague fashion. It's Ravi Shankar ji who actually brought it to the masses in so many parts of the world. And he made it such a household name that even whether it's rock or pop or jazz, all these different systems themselves evolved because of their interactions with somebody like Pandit Ravi Shankar ji. So George Harrison and so many other musicians were inspired by Indian music. He made that sitar like a household name, one of the most fashionable things at that time. And so that shaped the course of world music itself. And
yeah,
Carnatic music is no less. So it's imperative that the world recognizes that there are two systems of classical music. One is Hindustani, other is Carnatic. So it was my mission to follow in the footsteps of legends like Pandit Ravi Shankar ji. Of course, in Carnatic itself, so many other people soon started emerging and collaborating with Western orchestras, playing for Western audiences, not only Western, I mean, throughout the world,
yeah.
global audiences. So, those were the ambassadors of our system. And it was imperative to consolidate that. And then soon I realized that only performing as a musician is not enough. You have to really start working also as a composer, compose music for the Western orchestras or for world music ensembles so that our ragas and other things are played by them, and then they start getting a deeper appreciation of our values and concepts. So this was where I was coming from.
Yeah. We're curious to know your thought process on the transition of Gottu Vadyam to Chitraveena and then Navachitraveena. In the beginning, you mentioned about, but people like some set of the people in the world, most of them, we know Veena, we heard about. But when I started interacting with you in multiple occasions, then I know, oh, there's something called Chitraveena. And in one of your interview also, I heard about Navachitraveena. Can you please share that, your vision and the thought process of these transitions?
See, Gotuadyam, as I said, is a recent name given by my grandfather's guru, but Chitrabina is a traditional name that has been mentioned in Bharata's Natya Shastra, Sangeeta Ratnakara of Sharangadeva. And so, original name for this instrument, I started researching. And then several musicologists helped me identify that Chitrabina is the closest name that is there in the treatises that is corresponding to Gotuadyam. So, I brought back the traditional name. There is no change in the instrument itself.
Okay.
Navachitra Veena is something I designed more recently because for I was traveling a lot and also collaborating with a lot of different artists who perform in different shrutis. So the traditional Chitraveena or shruti may not work for all instruments like say sitar or piano and the Western orchestras and all that. So I designed a different instrument called the Navachitra. But the internal design, the string arrangement, all that playing technique, all that is still the same as the original Chitraveena, traditional Chitraveena. So there is no change in that. Only the external shape will slightly vary and the tonality will slightly vary. So we are trying to bring out the best kind of mix between the Chitravina and the Navachitravina.
And sir, we heard you did a 4 minute concert at Chennai Fine Arts Festival. What is actually concerts? I never heard about a 4 minute concert. We always see, hours of concert. Of course, it's very melodious, but what is this all about? 4 minute concert.
No, my first 4 minute concert was actually in Germany
Oh,
in
okay.
1985. In fact, it was for a German TV national television talk show actually, where they gave exactly 4 minutes, and the great Kamalakar Rao Garu performed with me in that concert. And in that one, in 4 minutes, I played every aspect of Carnatic music I wanted to project in that. So I did a bit of Alapana, Tanam, then the composition Tyagaraja's Shiva 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 in Radha. And then I did a bit of Neravel and then Kalpana Swarams, and I also asked him to play a little bit of percussion solo within all these 4 minutes. So just we were very keen to give an entire glimpse of Carnatic music in that. So that was the first one, and the second one happened more because it was supposed to be a full concert, but uh, because the weather got terribly this thing, and people just could not come in.
Oh,
It started raining about half an hour before the concert or 45 minutes before the concert. It was one of the worst weather. So out of the blue, it was a
yeah.
bad weather. Surprised everybody.
Okay.
And then we actually decided to postpone it to another day. But then the great Umayalpuram Shivaraman sir was accompanying me that day. So he said, at least since we have all come, at least play one piece and then let's do, because at least for Shastram it should be like. So it was actually an occasion where my one of my gurus, T.V. Gopalakrishnan sir, was being honored. So he was also there, and then the violinist was there, and few people were there. So we just, out of respect for everyone, we just played one song. So that is how that
And
second
then
thing
same
happened.
you played again back in
No, no,
Chennai.
different song, of course.
But
Here,
still 4 minute concert.
4 minute we just played. Yes.
And I want to talk about more on your contributions. I can use still word innovations, but however, we always heard about the globalization in political way, economical way, science and technology and other industrial aspects. And the globalization of Carnatic music, something actually gives me very, what do you call, heartful. What is this globalization? So in that part, globalization, you did lot of things, and one of them I want to talk about. Actually, Ravi Kiranji was here in Seattle to perform and to go. Actually, he's the founder, and he's the part of Mel Harmony. So we have a Mel Harmony festival in September 27th in Seattle. Actually, he's present for that festival mainly. So, what is this Mel Harmony, sir? Actually, it looks like I'm reading, but I want to hear more from you about this Mel Harmony.
See, there are two approaches to music in the world. Predominantly, one is the melodic approach. That means you hear one note after the other. That means successive notes. So, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni, sa. These are all successively done. And then there is the other approach, which is called the harmonic approach, where certain notes will be played simultaneously. So, sa, ga, pa, re, ma, da, all this will be like chords, counterpoints. All this is now seen more in Western systems, like Western classical or jazz or pop and all that. They use a lot of chords. So these are the two basic approaches. Either the notes can be presented simultaneously or they can be presented in succession. But even when you present simultaneous notes, it's not like you are just doing one thing. There also successive notes are there. Successive combinations of simultaneous notes can be there, right? So now these two approaches, the rules are different for each because they evolved in different ways. Even in the West, until about 800 years back, it was all melodic systems. So then they became harmonic, polyphonic. First, polyphony means you are having multiple sounds at the same time. And that actually started happening in churches because, they were finding that people are not attending the church services. So they wanted to make the music more interesting. So they started having different people sing simultaneously in different parts of the octave. And that's how gradually it started evolving into chords. Now, technically, I don't want to go too deep, but because the raga systems of Indian music are highly evolved in a melodic manner, and the harmony part of it is evolved in the Western sense. Now, how to integrate the two is a musical challenge. Usually, when you have fusion concerts, there is more of confusion, diffusion, all of that. We need an infusion of good ideas.
Yeah.
So, because of that, I started working on this concept thanks to Dr. Geeta Upadhyay of Kala Sangam in UK, who had invited me for a collaboration with artists of the BBC Philharmonic Orchestra. This was in the year 2000. So this year happens to be 25th year of Mel Harmony.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I put this concept of Mel Harmony to BBC Philharmonic, I really thought that they'll be very conservative and completely against this kind of ideas. But they were surprisingly very open about it. So we actually presented the first ever Mel Harmony concert in that festival. This was actually the UK Millennium Festival, where they were celebrating a millennium actually. So we had concerts in October 2000, and then the BBC magazine ran a cover story called BBC Mel Harmonic instead of Philharmonic, you know. So that by God's grace, these concerts were very well received in London, Manchester, Bradford, so many other places. And out of 2000 events that were performed in UK that year, ours got into the top five. So we were invited for another encore in December 2000 also. So since then, I have collaborated with several different orchestras across the world. Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra. In fact, in Seattle, you're going to have the Apollo Chamber Players, a fantastically talented group from Houston coming to perform here in this Mel Harmony Festival on 27th. I would invite all the listeners to come in large numbers because you're going to have some Indian compositions, typical traditional Indian compositions and ragas presented by the Western orchestras along with me and the legendary mridangist Ella Venkateshwara Garu and other talented artists like Ravi Balasubramaniam and Sanjay Suresh on the violin and so forth. And there's going to be concerts by so many different artists in this festival. So we are celebrating Mel Harmony 25 this year, not only in Seattle but also in Madison, and then subsequently in India also. We are going to have some concerts.
Congratulations on this because it's not easy. Something you initiated and it is keep going on, and in completing the 25th year, that's a great. It's a great.
All God's grace. But for me, the most heartening aspect of this is through Mel Harmony, I have been able to introduce a lot of our great composers, be it Purandaradasa or Tyagaraja or Ootikadu Venkatakavi, Muthuswami Dikshitar, Shyama Shastri, Swati Tirunal, and all the to Western orchestra. So when we had a concert in Wisconsin, Madison, a few years back, we presented works of Muthuswami Dikshitar as well as Beethoven and Mozart in the same concert. So nearly 50,000 people attended that concert. And they all got to hear Muthuswami Dikshitar. They all got to know that such a composer even exists in the world. So that is the whole thing. And so we have been able to introduce more than 100 ragas to these orchestras. And I also work with jazz musicians. I work with pop musicians, rock and roll artists. I work with Brazilian artists, Chinese artists, with Persian artists, so Afro-American cultures. So it's been very enriching experience for me, a big learning curve to be able to showcase our ragas. So I have to write this in Western notation. I have to arrange it for the orchestra. Now if you take composition which is even popular like say Raghuvamsha Sudha Buddhi Chandra Shri, that is there. So to arrange it to the Western orchestra is a completely different thing because you have to make different artists play different things. So you have to create the harmony parts, you have to create counterpoints, and you have to give everything in Western notation so that every musician is able to read our music in their language. That's
why we call it as a globalization. It's not easy. Ravi Kiran Sir's contribution is, it's me with you all. That's the kind of thing is going. And so I also heard in continuation, you also did something like clinical sonic solutions. Before you go to clinical sonic solutions, melharmonymusic.com, that's a website. I encourage all the audience to look into. You get a lot of information. So let's go to the clinical sonic solutions. And I heard this is a concept of Musopathy for health and wellness. And you developed this into two main lines, receptive and participative. What is this we call Musopathy?
See, musopathy is a completely different facet. So you have had this literature that actually talks about the therapeutic values of music. Now, one can even argue that music was first used for health and wellness, only then it became entertainment and religious thing. When man started first identifying something called music, They used to do it just to relax themselves and feel better, right? Then only it became some art music and all that. So now the therapeutic effects of music is a subject that has been there in so many different cultures. Ancient Indian pioneers like Sushruta, Charaka, all these people have mentioned about music therapy. They have even mentioned for that using music would be good for even coma patients. So that level they have been working for thousands of years in India. Similarly, Chinese, Egyptian civilization, so many different cultures have worked on music as a therapeutic subject. Now, musopathy aims to take this to a slightly higher level of scientific precision, where we are actually taking the laws of physics and studying the biological responses based on the universal aspects of music. So typically the therapy was usually being done with say Indian music, some raga or some Mozart like composer and all that. But now we are trying to universalize this whole thing
Okay.
and find solutions for people who can be from any culture but still benefit from this.
Yeah.
Now, if you say raga, only Indians can benefit usually, because
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
so we can't expect some Eskimo to
Understand.
benefit from some Ananda Bhairavi raga or
Ah,
something, because they won't even relate to that, right?
yeah.
So now we have to now start making solutions in music which are actually relevant to all populations, just like allopathy. That's why I call this musopathy
Musiopathy.
rather
Okay.
than just music therapy.
Okay.
So now you need to bring in the precise approach, which is why now IIT in Himachal Pradesh has now opened the entire MS and PhD course for music and musopathy. So
Wow.
students and it's a formal subject that has been introduced, and a lot of students are coming and enrolling for that, and they are actually doing research in musopathy. And this is how we need to start taking the subject forward. So when you talk about receptive musopathy, it is where we create medicinal music
Okay.
rather than concert music for entertainment and religious thing. You can't simply take that and listen to some
Yeah.
ex-artist singing one song. That is not therapy so much, unless you can relate to that artist. So you need to create something, it's a completely new genre called medical music, which we are working on. That is why it's clinical sonic solutions. And
Okay.
that's what we are using for both research as well as for therapy. And so people listen to that. And then we have to study what their response is. Now the participative part is they themselves will produce the music. So now there is something called tonation breathing techniques where you actually produce single frequencies through your nose or through pursed lips and all that. So that is one part of it. Second part of it is rhythm based, which can really be really good for cognitive development or fighting cognitive decline or even dementia. All these things you are giving more what we call as artistic oral arithmetics. So we engage more parts of their brains to improve their abilities. And so together these receptive and participative musicopathy solutions can really cover a lot of different kinds of illnesses. So I would recommend everyone to go to clysonics.com and check out many of these aspects.
Such a great organic method, and you don't need any chemicals. Just heal yourself by looking into this or practicing this.
Yeah. So non-invasive, basically non-invasive solutions is the main objective of this. Sometimes it can be complementary to allopathy. It can be sometimes substitute to that also, because some people may have intolerances to certain
Yeah.
medicines. Side effects may be there. So in those cases, this can be more applied. So all these are being explored. A lot of research needs to happen. So I invite all scholars to come and apply for doing research and PhDs and all this in these areas, so that IIT, they'll of course get a MS or
Yeah.
PhD degree at the end of it also. But we are actually trying to work with a lot of different hospitals, with doctors and medical institutions to actually come up with more global solutions for health and wellness.
Thank you. Compositions are many. I don't know which one to touch base, but I tried my best to ask few of them today. And apologies if I miss anything, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
And because I was reading and I did my little bit of research, not much many, because you are really a dictionary, never ending dictionary. There's so many in your websites and everywhere, a lot of videos you have. But a few of them I'm going to touch base today. One is Divya Desha, and you have composed for Dasavatara. And one is Jyotirlinga during Tyagaraja Aradhana Utsav in this year in Cleveland. Sir composed a Jyotirlinga Mala because I was actually coordinating one of the Kuchipudi dance school. That's how I met Sir. And that one and Muthu Swami Dikshitilu. And lot of Uthukadu recently, I think last weekend you were there in Boston, right?
Milwaukee, Chicago.
In Milwaukee, Chicago. So all these compositions, can you just share your experience or story behind this to understand?
No particular story or something. See, when I was about 5 years old or so, my father had already taught me more than 400, 500 compositions of great composers. And then I sort of doubled that by the time I was 10 or so. And so I was inspired by all the great composers. So then somehow I started composing when I was 12 or so. And now it's probably more than 1200 compositions in all, in different languages, Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Hindi, a little bit. So the inspiration really comes from all these great people. And whatever little we are doing is based on our rasikatvam of those great people.
Yeah.
Endaro Mahanubhavulu, that rasika, if you are a rasika, then you are a satellite of those stars. So you start out as a satellite, and then whatever little you are revolving around the traditional values, but at the same time then trying to innovate within those things. Now the Divyadesham compositions or the Dasavatara compositions or the Jyotirlingam, all this they just happened, except the Jyotirlingam, which I did it at the request of the great Mridangam legend Sri Umayalpuram Shivaraman sir. All these have been presented. The channel, I think YouTube, there is some channel called Ravi Kiran Creations and Collaborations. That channel features several of my works. Some of them have been rendered, performed by great legends like Ram Darsana Karo when I did one of the Divyadesham compositions on Ayodhya. That was performed by nearly 250 artists, right from, Vaijayanti Mala Bali, Garu and Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, Padma Subramanian ji, Sonal Mansingh ji, so many of them danced and sang in that one. And 102-year-old Mridangam legend T.K. Murthy sir, he performed in that. Trichy Shankaran sir performed, M. Chandrasekharan ji, then Shankar Mahadevan, Sudha Raghunathan, Aruna Sair, all of them have performed in that. That's the biggest production of its kind, which even the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, he personally appreciated it, calling it a monumental effort and all that. So like this, we compose different things. Then 35 talas of Carnatic music, I was inspired to compose because there had been no such set in Carnatic music at all on each one of the 35 talas when I composed it. So like this, 72 Kattas, all this, God's grace, this have happened. And I've of course tuned several works, including the 1330 verses of Tiruvalluvar, called the Tirukkural. Completely brilliant creations more than 2000 years back. And then Annamaya, Purandaradasa, all these people's works.
Even Mahabharata and Ramayanam.
That is completely different. See, this is tuning these other great composers' works. The Mahabharata, Ramayana, Lakshmi Prabhavam, Almighty Trinity, Panchakriya, Vinayaka Vaibhavam, all these things I composed fully for dance, operas, and for general music operatic presentations. So that is completely different. So those are also been performed by great dancers, right from Pandit Birju Maharaj ji, C.V. Chandrasekharan sir, Guru Radha, Padma Subramanian ji. They've all worked and choreographed and they've presented my works. Now I'm actually working on one mammoth production with Sonal Mansingh ji called Amrita Manthanam.
Wow.
That's going to be presented in Bombay
Okay.
on October 28th during the National Maritime Conference.
Okay.
So, international conference. So that is going to be presented there. Then I'm working on another production with another great legend, Padma Subramanian Garu, called, it's a historical novel, which we are actually presenting as an opera, called Nandivarma Pallava. So again, it's about the Pallava Empire, how they actually conquered so many other parts of Southeast Asia and all that also. So very, very interesting productions. I'm very lucky to be part of. I've had the privilege of interacting with Vempati Satyam Garu
Yeah.
and several other leading dancers of various generations. So
And
that is a different part
yeah.
of it. What is
No, no,
yours?
go ahead, sir. In Lakshmi Prabhavam, I want to ask you, but I heard the Lakshmi Prabhavam, it's a 5 episodes,
Yes.
and first time it's performed in Pittsburgh in 19 around.
No, actually, the first concert of Lakshmi Prabhavam it was the opera that was specifically commissioned by the Cleveland Tyagaraja Festival.
Okay,
So they invited me to compose an entire 3 hour
sure.
show. Just about the previous year, the great Lalgudi Jayaraman sir had done something called Jay Jay Devi. And then Cleveland Festival wanted me to compose Lakshmi Prabhavam. Actually, they wanted me to compose something. It was my Guruji father who told me, why don't you take up Lakshmi? Because nobody has usually taken up Lakshmi for dance in a big way. So why don't you compose Lakshmi Prabhavam as a full opera? So we selected 5 different episodes. We presented it. Guru Radha choreographed that. And for that we brought more than 30, 35 artists from India. Several dancers and musicians and all that. So we had a 20, 25 concert tour in the US. So all over the country we performed at that time. Somehow we missed out Seattle then. But I'm glad that we are having
Yeah.
the Seattle show now.
Yeah, in
Whereas,
Seattle show we are having Lakshmi Sambhavam and Lakshmi Kalyanam and Lakshmi Katacham, and the uniting part is sir actually combining all the dances. Even in Tyagaraja also, we have various classical dance in India, sir, like Kuchipudi,
yes,
Bharatanatyam,
yes.
Mohiniyattam, Kathak. Doesn't matter. So once sir composes, actually all schools and all dance forms, we are performing various dance forms in this Lakshmi Prabham. We are really privileged to, perform from our schools.
No, I am so happy because see, our arts transcend divisions. They bring things together. They are a big unifier, right? Every art is a unifier in different ways, how we bring it. And I'm so glad that so many dance schools have come together from different genres here to present some of my compositions, whether it is Ashtalakshmi, Namostute, or even probably the Pancha Raga, Pancha Tala, Pancha Jati Malika, Tilana, and all that. So it's so nice to have all of them working in tandem, and people like you are contributing a lot. So
No, we are just a small dot in the ocean, but of course we enjoy. We love to. The people says how up the wave go, it has to immerse in the sea. So we are all part of the great culture, which is again globalized, sir. Thank you so much.
all of us, yes. About Oothagadu Venkatakavi.
Sir.
I have not composed on Oothagadu Venkatakavi. I have just been fortunate to bring to light his brilliant genius level works. Those creations of Oothagadu Venkatakavi, many of them were hidden for more than 200 years. He is said to have lived between 1700 and 1765. Today, I would recommend everyone to go and download what is known as the Venkatakavi app for both Android and iPhone.
Phone.
So my student Bhargavi Balasubramaniam, she has really created this app and
Okay.
the website also called venkatakavi.org. So in that we have been able to share more than 600 compositions of this great composer. And before me, of course, so many great musicians from GNB, T.N. Sheshagopalan sir, T.V. Subbarao Garu, so many other great people have done a lot for Venkatagavi. But in recent times, we have been able to contact the Shishya Parampara of this great composers. And we have been able to get more and more compositions through them. And we are sharing that some of that is available for free in the app that I mentioned. And some of them I have also taught in the website called acharyanet.com. So people can also learn properly some of these compositions.
So, I want to ask you what challenges you face when you're composing for Western and any dance pieces, apart from the Carnatic music. Carnatic music is like it's in your blood. That's how I feel. It's not separate from you. But when you compose for operas or the Western pieces, what challenges you come across?
See, it's more than a challenge, it's an opportunity, it's a learning curve. You know, somehow composing by God's grace, if I'm inspired, I compose almost in real time. Okay. So when I composed Lakshmi Prabhavam, I was able to, I was in one zone. So anytime I was thinking only this, so whether I was awake or asleep or half asleep, this was somehow going in my head. So I composed almost 55 compositions in 80 ragas for Lakshmi Prabhavam originally when we presented. And all this happened within about 4 weeks. Similarly, when I'm in that zone, I'm able to compose very fast. But it is more fascinating for me to do a lot of research. When you are composing in specific themes, you have to really empower yourself with proper knowledge. When I was invited to compose Ramayana, I went to Valmiki only as a source for this. Much before that, I had read Valmiki Ramayana when I was 13 years old. The entire 7 parts, original transliteration I had read. But when I was composing, I revisited some of those things to make sure that I was composing most accurately. Similarly, if you want to do Mahabharata, go to Vyasa,
Yeah.
not some abridged version. So you need to get the original sources and then do that level of diligence for you to produce something of high quality and authenticity. And that is the fascinating part for me. It's more not so much a challenge, but it's more fascinating to study so much. So even 108 Divya Deshams when I composed, I learned so much about each one of the 108 shrines.
No.
So that is a great learning opportunity. Same with Jyotirlingams. So the Sthala Puranas and the historical stories that is associated with that. All this you learn more and you try to embed some of those. We can't embed everything in a composition, but we at least bring in the highlights in those. So that is the fascinating part for me. So similarly, when I compose for Western orchestras, it's a different subject because you have to make sure that you are representing the raga also properly. And at the same time, you are also giving opportunity for them to explore their chords and counterpoints and harmony also. So that is a slightly more challenge because it's a technical subject. And unless you are having a working knowledge of Western classical system, you cannot do a good job as a composer. So you need to learn, you need to study the way chord progressions work, all these kind of things, in order to then do. But still, you should have a clarity of thought that mel harmony is about exploring melodic progression, which is something novel to the Westerners.
Yeah.
So we are bringing something to their table that also widens their own horizons as musicians and as conductors or as composers. So it's a contribution that we are doing to share our values with them. Now, for example, some of the Indian music and dance, they have Tirmanams, the core ways and all these things. So I embed all that in my compositions.
Wow.
So that the Western orchestras also play these things now. So they are more and more, it comes into their consciousness gradually. So it's a big project
Yeah.
and
So you start from the roots. The roots are very, very important. We should know where the roots. And you said one great point, sir. Like instead of challenge, we should always take it as an opportunity. Opportunities gives more motivation, and then, as you mentioned, go deeper, and then do the things.
yeah, see, the key is to always wear the student's hat. If we don't have the student's hat, we cannot evolve at all.
Exactly.
And we will start feeling old also. So if you're having the student's hat, you will also feel young most of the times.
Yeah.
So then you are learning more. And I've seen yeah, legends who are in their 80s and 90s, they were always thinking like a student.
Practicing every day, making
Practicing,
sure.
they had the childlike wonder,
Yeah.
the curiosity, and the awe for beauty. See, they were really captivated by beauty. What is life if you are not captivated by beauty?
Exactly.
So that is what that quality is what separates uh, evolved human beings from people who just go through the motions.
Yeah.
And
People say, yeah.
I got to work with legends like that. Every legend I've looked at, they had that quality. No matter what their biological age was,
Yeah.
they had that quality.
So people says, I heard from a lot of people feel day one. Every day when you go to office, you feel like you day one, okay, what should I learn today? What should I do today? That makes you, never boring and you always feel like going and then
Yes,
learning things.
yes.
Sir,
In that mindset, evolution itself is effortless. It just happens. That's it.
and as you mentioned in the beginning, the acharyanet.com, this is the world's largest Indian musical educational portal. So that's actually you own it and then
No, no, no. I don't own it or I don't do anything of that sort. It's really created by Soumya Acharya, a
oh,
wonderful
okay.
musician herself, and her husband Sripati Acharya. They are the owners of that. I'm just the dean of courses for them.
Wow.
But I sort of give them inputs on which musicians to invite for workshops. So they've got some of the greatest content. They've got legends like Tanjavur Shankarayar, P.S. Narayanaswamy, Trichy Shankaran sir, Maladi brothers, so many great artists, Patri Satish Kumar. Many people they've invited in their courses, and they've got the widest
Okay.
range of artists who have taught different kind of subjects, whether it's Muthuswami Dikshitar Navavarana Kritis or Swati Janal's Navaratri Kritis, Oothikadu Venkata Kavis, Saptaratna Kritis, Tyagaraja Pancharatnams, all these different people, including me, have taught in that. So I would invite everyone to go and learn in depth. If you want to learn from great masters, I think AcharyaNet is doing a great service, not only by having all this content, but giving it at very, very, very nominal,
Yeah.
easily affordable prices for
Yeah.
everyone.
Sometimes knowing information is also problem. Without knowing is actually problem. If you know, then you can explore.
Yes.
So that's actually helping us. Definitely, sir. I encourage all the audience to look into, especially the who are interested to learn music and they pursue the music. And already learning the music, music lovers, just go and check the website.
So the way the site has been done, it is set right from those who are at the basic level of Sarali verses, even to performers, they can go and learn, because even performing artists can learn from great legends who are from different generations. So it is really from the primary level to the most advanced levels. Everything is there.
So in this current fast-growing world, lot of distractions. One side, lot of distractions. One side, lot of colors. There's a lot of things are going. At the same time, especially I'm staying in US close to 15 years. We don't know where we are away from India. We always like I was learned a little bit of Kuchipudi in my very beginning of age, and then I encouraged my daughters to and both of them to be in the Kuchipudi. One finished Ranga Pravesam and the second one is now learning. So because I know I miss something, so that's how I encourage. So here, not only my kids, most of the parents, because we feel like, oh, either they have to be in a dance form or a music form. But at the same time, it's a global world. You see everywhere, all colors are visible to you. So, what do you advise, or learning is not just learning in the classroom. Any learning should be part of that, especially the music. They should take it as for the life. It's not just left it at the classroom. So, what do you want to say? How you want to motivate people who are learning and they wanted to put it in pursue like a life.
See, the two things that I like to emphasize to everyone, whether it is music or dance or any art form or anything, first and foremost is enjoy what you do. If you enjoy it, others can enjoy it. If you are singing even one note, you should enjoy it first. Or if you are doing one adave or one, particular kind of gesture, every single thing you should enjoy. Number one. You should see beauty in that. If you don't enjoy it yourself, then others are not going to enjoy it. Second thing is strive for perfection. You can't do it in a haphazard manner and then enjoy that. You have to do it correctly and then enjoy that correct and perfect manner. So strive for perfection and also enjoy that process. And then the third aspect is do not learn with an agenda. This is very important for both students and parents. They should have no agenda for the child to learn at least for 5, 6 years. They can't be saying, I want for this reality show, this competition, this one, this thing. When can my son sing Sarlever in front of a mic? All these things should not be there.
Yeah.
Because the child has to first evolve.
Yeah.
The presentation aspects only comes after the person has evolved. You have to empower the child to evolve so that then when that person is presented, it makes an impact. There is no great credit in doing one 15-second Insta reel and saying that that went viral. All this really,
Yeah.
unless it endures for some 50, 60 years, it means nothing at all.
Exactly.
See, art has to be not only endearing, it has to be enduring.
Yeah.
So, we have to understand that that is the yardstick that we should inculcate in our next generation. We should not encourage a child to be doing, okay, no, at least you practice and put something in Insta. These are all very,
And
this-
actually reducing the focus more on other side.
yeah, you are no more focused on the result than the actual action.
Learning. Yeah.
Right. So that should be avoided. And they should really start developing knowledge only from the best sources. You should not compromise on the quality of guru. Don't ever think that initially I'll teach from, I'll learn from this person, then for advanced I'll go to some top artist. No, from day one you should go to the best artists. Because from day one,
Yeah.
they will give the best perspectives of the art. If you don't get the best from that stage itself, you may not be able to adapt when suddenly there is a change. Yeah, like that.
That's absolutely, sir. I heard you composed a raga on Narendra Modi ji.
See, the whole thing happened in a very organic manner.
Okay.
So, Dr. Sonal Mansingh ji had invited me for a performance in Delhi, along with another sitar artist and a cello artist. So, when she called me, though there was this Zoom meeting between me and this Shubhendra Rao ji and Saskia Rao, who was the cellist. So at that time, Sonal Mansingh ji introduced me to them, saying that he has composed on Narendra Modi ji Raga. So at that time, I had not composed. So she had somehow thought, so it came out of her mouth
Yeah.
like that. I told I only composed on Mahatma Gandhi ji at that time.
Okay.
Okay, but by the night, this conference happened, Zoom thing happened at 4:30 in the evening. By 9 o'clock in the night, I had got some idea. Then I also composed the song. All this finished, and so then that song itself is Surendra Narendra Modini.
Okay.
It's actually the composition is on Goddess Saraswati or Sangeeta Vani basically. So it just happened like that. And then somehow that went viral, and by God's grace, it just happened like that.
And also I heard and I watched a few of them. You're composing on these social events. One is Operation Sindoor. That's good. It's looking at the nations. It doesn't matter who did what, but looking into the nation point of view. That's a more. I was actually looked at that video also. Very nice. That was very
God's
nice.
grace. See, this whole thing, when it comes to art, when it comes to our nation, no matter what our occupation is, no matter what our political views are, when the national security and other things are at stake, we should all come together.
Come together, absolutely.
And we should salute the leaders who are protecting our nation and the warriors who are protecting our nation.
Absolutely.
So that is what was the inspiration for me to release that song at that time, and more than 100 musicians cooperated within one night.
Yeah.
So everybody came together, and the Indian Army worked with me on the visuals for that song. They shared a lot of the Army visuals, the Navy visuals, the aircraft visuals. The Coast Guard came and they actually gave their own ship as a backdrop for us to video the song in the Marina Beach in Chennai. So all of them came together in record time, and we were able to pay the tribute as the Operation Sindoor was happening.
If we're doing something for that great cause, I think things will happen no matter what happens.
Somehow, God's grace and the credit to all the artists who, because they had to come to the studio, record, audio, then also come for the video shoot. So a lot of things were happening simultaneously.
And sir, you're almost all performing at the age of 5. Uh, you started learning from 2, but performance doesn't matter, 3 or 4 or 5. But such a long music journey. I'm not sure I can use this right. This word is a right, but I still wanted to know what reflections. Like, do you have any reflections on your entire music journey?
No time. My father has always told me one thing: always look ahead, never look back.
Go back.
Never
History is
look
done.
back.
Just yeah.
Yeah, don't ever look back and see how much you have traveled. Always look ahead and see how much more you have to travel. So this is an advice he gave when I was like a child of 3 or 4. So I would like to look ahead and see
Um,
God's grace if I can contribute.
to
For
something.
me,
Yeah.
that is the biggest reward. So
And very curious to ask you, what do you do other than, I know you mentioned you sleep, you walk, you read, everything with me. Other than, in case any time, what you do other than the Carnatic music, if you,
I
something
have
other
done a
hobby?
lot of things. I used to be a passionate cricketer,
Wow.
but absolutely no talent, but passion those there.
Yeah.
But so I played for my school team and all that. Then I was
Okay.
captain of some cricket teams locally and all that. Then I used to play table tennis, a little bit of a lot of sports I used to do. I also play a bit of chess and all that. And reading. I'm a vociferous
Rushes.
reader. Yes, absolutely vociferous reader because from childhood, not only the philosophical kind of things and all that, even general fiction, all these kind of things I do. So that kind of wide reading enabled me to communicate well, whether I was in Europe or Japan or US or Middle East or many of these different countries. So that reading really helped me a lot because I could understand cultures
Yeah.
firsthand even before I visited them. So that
That's
is
why you're
what.
able to contribute a lot, like Mel Harmony or, clinical.
Yeah, see, I also authored a lot of books. Mine was probably the first book appreciating Carnatic music,
Okay.
and it was proofread by none other than R.K. Narayan, the
Oh,
great writer.
yeah.
And the cover design, if you buy the copy, you will see the cover is by R.K. Lakshman.
Okay.
Appreciating Carnatic music.
Appreciate. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
my
appreciating
husband
Carnatic
downloaded
music is there.
actually into
Yeah.
Kindle version.
Yes,
Appreciating
that'll be
Carnatic
there.
music.
And N. Ram, he was the editor of Hindu and all that. So
Wow.
he was also the one who proofread the book. So all these people, I was able to collaborate with legends of different areas in my works. Then I wrote Perfecting Carnatic Music, then Life and Contributions of Uthikadu Venkatakavi. All these things, it's only because it comes from my own passion for reading. I have written several articles in almost all the newspapers. They have carried my articles, and some of them scholarly journals also. So all this, I've been able to get inspired by the kind of authors that I read.
Any art form or any artist is close to the spirituality. It's in mine. I know you are more spiritual when we see your performances and all. So I want to hear like how the spirituality, in your life music plays a major role to connect to the spirituality.
See, there are two ways to look at it. Music itself is the most spiritual experience. It's more in absolute terms, what you can think of as a Nirguna Brahma, because music itself is closely aligned to the cosmos. In fact, scientists have now confirmed that there is a cosmic vibration that is there, which is on a musical note of A sharp or B
Wow.
flat. This spectroanalysis
Yeah.
reveals those kind of things. So like this, then there is rhythm in whether you are having planets around the solar systems or stellar systems or your heartbeat, the way you walk, the way you talk, everything has a laya associated with it. So Shruti is there, laya is there, it's all universal. So if you are tuned in to music in a real sense, you are tuned into the cosmos. That's one way to look at it. In specific areas, if you look at our great Sanatana Dharma, there is so much of not just mythological stories, but there is so much of philosophical values, life lessons, all that is embedded in our culture. And our great composers, whether they were, Annamacharya,
Yeah.
Purandaradasa
Tyagaraja.
generation, or subsequently Uthikadu Venkatakavi, Tyagaraja Dikshitar kind of generation, Bhadrachala Ramadas,
Yeah.
all these people, they have all incorporated many of those concepts into their compositions. So those values come through Carnatic literature if you really study Carnatic literature in a proper way as a musician, same for our dance forms, many of them, all the rasas
Yeah.
and the different types of bhakti, all that is embedded in
Embedded.
this. And the greatest authors have emphasized that this is not simply entertainment, but it is more about rasanubhava.
Yeah.
So that if you are able to give that experience to yourself first and then share it with everyone, then that's the best way in which you can actually bring together people together in a more organic, effortless fashion, without going around like on crusader holding flags and doing slogans. That's not a way to make people into something, or fiery speeches.
Yeah.
All this generally is a different form. I mean, a different context. But here we are able to bring all this together, and that's the greatness of these great systems that we have. Which is why, whether you want your children to become musicians or dancers or not, every parent should give these values, exposure to these values, some of these art forms, so that the child grows into a good human being, into a good world citizen. And that is what we need to make sure that we are actually having a breed of human beings coming up every generation, and not just AI dependent
Yeah.
robots that we are actually spawning.
Yeah. There is a sentence in Hindi, sir. You can कुछ भी बनो पहले इंसान बनो.
Right. That human values, humane nature, all this is more important than all the money or the technology and everything
That
that
will
we are
come
going to
on.
develop.
And I know you speak Telugu too. Do you want to say a few words for our Telugu audience?
నా తెలుగు అంత గ్రేట్ ఏమీ లేదు. మై కంపోజింగ్ తెలుగు ఇస్ స్లైట్లీ బెటర్, ఎందుకంటే మై ఎక్స్పోజర్ టు త్యాగరాజ, ముత్తుస్వామి దీక్షితర్ అన్ని కొంచెం అలాగా ఉంది. బట్ స్పోకన్ తెలుగు, నాన్నగారి తెలుగు, మై ఫాదర్ తెలుగు ఇస్ లైక్ కృష్ణా గోదావరి డిస్ట్రిక్ట్ యాక్చువల్లీ.
Okay.
Yeah. This is
So
fantastic.
father is from Krishna.
No. My father
He's
is
from
from
Mysore.
Tirunelveli
Oh,
actually,
okay.
all of us. But he, because of his exposure to
Oh,
many of these
yes, sir.
cities when he was in his young age also, his language skills, whether it's Hindi or Telugu, everything, perfect accent will be like native actually.
For art, there's no language, sir. There's no language, there's no place. And with your vision, especially Mel Harmonian, you also proved that there is no uh, border, no continent. World is one platform.
Yes, in many ways.
Yeah.
And see, the way you have to look at it is also that diversity is a way to appreciate contrast, not obsess over divisionism. So if you are able to appreciate similarities even in diverse cultures, then you will actually be able to enjoy life much more harmoniously.
So, do you want to say any conclusion words for our audience?
No, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and my very best wishes for your
Anaganaga.
Anaganaga channel, and to all the viewers who are watching all this. Do take special care to instill pride and passion in our culture, our values, our music, our dance, and our other art forms amongst all your children and all your friends. And this is the best way we can pay tribute to our nation. Namaste.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, audience. I'm very excited to definitely share this story. Ravi Kiran has a lot of experience we heard from him. And that's all in the today's episode, the globalization of Carnatic music. It's not just a globalization. There is a lot of words, very much motivation gives to all the music lovers. And thank you so much for watching me. And మీరు చూస్తూ ఉండండి, నేను చేస్తూ ఉంటాను. Once again, please like and subscribe to get more and more guests. Thank you everyone. అందరికీ ధన్యవాదాలు.